Okay, so this is Karen. She just finished up a program of ours, and she's had some kind of pretty cool things happen with her. But it took a little bit, and we'll get into that a little bit. So first of all, Karen, how did you find out about us, and what brought you into our office?
You did a seminar over at Legacy Cottages and explained the program, and I was very interested because I had neuropathy in my feet as a result of chemo and radiation that I'd had that killed the nerve endings in my feet.
Okay, so she had chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy, a side effect of chemotherapy in many instances is neuropathy. So how long have you been dealing with that for?
8 years, no, 6 years.
6 years, okay. Now over those 6 years, had it gotten better at all?
No, not at all. In fact, it was, I think, progressive.
You could see it progressing and getting worse. Because sometimes with chemo, it's really bad in the beginning, then it kind of subsides a little bit, but yours, you never really saw that.
I didn't.
Okay.
The second time I had chemo, I had 2 bouts of cancer, and the second bout I could feel more neuropathy coming all the time, and they cut down the chemo so that it would not progress.
So they actually slowed down the chemotherapy because the neuropathy had gotten pretty severe. So
yes.
You were dealing with and what kind of symptoms were you having?
Well, I was having tingling in my feet all the time, and I had like a big wad at the ball of my feet.
Okay.
I just always had that, whenever I'd walk, I could just feel like a sock was wadded up in the ball of my foot.
Now, did you deal with a lot of pain too, or not really?
It wasn't painful. It was something I could deal with. It was
just that annoying. Okay. Mm-hmm. And she walks, because she walked here almost every day from her office. I mean, from her house. She doesn't live too far away, and so she was a trooper. She would walk here and everything. It was kind of cool. All right, so when you came in, we did an examination. Did anything from the evaluation surprise you, or did it kind of was on par with what you kind of thought it would be?
I knew that I didn't have as much feeling in my feet as I should, but I didn't know it was as severe as it turned out to be. Okay,
so when she came into the office, she had a 74 and 70% loss of sensation in her feet, okay? Now, when you're dealing with cancer and you're dealing with the toxicity of chemotherapy, it's a tough one. So we went, probably the first, several weeks, and you saw little changes, but not tons of changes. Kind of tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the first thing I noticed was after you had done the radiation light on my feet.
Okay, yeah. So it's the radiation light.
It's not the radiation.
my mind just went blank because I've never heard that term.
Infrared
the infrared,
light.
yeah. The laser therapy. Okay.
Anyway, after I had that, I had no sock wad. I didn't have the lump in my feet for like 3 blocks
on the way home. Excellent.
My feet felt almost normal as I was walking.
Nice.
I was thinking, oh my goodness, my feet feel almost
And we
normal.
probably did that about 3 weeks in, probably, yeah, okay, because we kind of changed up different therapies that we do, and we started doing that. And I think we did that because one of my other therapies had broken, and so I'm like, hey, well, let's do this too, and that seemed to be a good thing for her. That's right. Now, when we did the diet, so we do a diet which is pretty strict, and we warned you before and everything like that. I remember you said to me one time, even if this doesn't work to help my feet, it was worth what I paid and everything else to do it because of why. Explain that.
Well, I had esophageal cancer. They had to remove my esophagus and move my stomach up into my chest area. And so
your throat connects right to your stomach, right? That's correct?
Yes. They attached my stomach to my neck.
Okay.
And so when I would lay down at night, I would have to sleep on an angle, and even with that angle, I would throw up every night.
And you'd throw up many times throughout the day as well, right?
Throughout the day, but being on this diet, that throwing up, I didn't have that throwing up
which is for you a miracle.
It really was a miracle for me.
Because this had been, what, 6 years
Yeah.
of you doing this on a regular basis. So almost every night at some time during the night you'd have to wake up and throw up. So your stomach is really small because of everything. It only allows you to have, like you said, like a cup of food. A cup of food. And a lot of times she's ended up having to throw that up. Now that's kind of a little graphic, but that's okay. You know, we're in healthcare and that's what we're doing. But for you, that was something that was completely life-changing.
It was.
And it was all because of what we did on some dietary changes. And I had no idea that was going to affect that. We do it because we want to decrease the inflammation so that our nerves can get in a healthy environment and everything like that. But for you, it totally changed, you know. And you can tell that. You can tell when you don't do things, and you've told me stories about that. Yeah.
Yes, if I go on really acidic foods, or if I am eating the wrong kinds of foods, I will throw up.
You notice it, and so for just like I said, just for doing that, it was a complete miracle for you. Okay, so we did the reeval midway through, like we normally do, and the numbers weren't that impressive. I think we only got like a 10% improvement, and I think a 20% improvement on the other foot. So it took a little while for you to start seeing changes. And I think one of the things is you started doing the ice cold contrast, right? You started really doing that at home, and that started making even a bigger difference. But also just the progress, because this is a progressive thing. It takes some time to do it. So when we finish, and in fact, you know, there's still work that we can possibly do, right? We've talked about that. But for right now, when she did her final evaluation, she ended up doubling her score, which is really impressive. Okay, now some people might think, well, it's only 50%, you know, loss of sensation when it was 75. But you know what? That's huge, especially when you're dealing with chemotherapy and that kind of thing. But then the other foot was at 32% loss of sensation, so that did drastically well. You know, so overall we've got, you know, I looked at it and like a 200% improvement, which is quite remarkable, especially because right now, if you were to talk to your oncologist or anyone else, what would they say you could do for your neuropathy and your chemotherapy?
Well, they did suggest that I do, what are the needles?
Acupuncture?
Acupuncture, and I did have acupuncture. I went for probably 6 or 8 sessions of acupuncture.
And didn't see anything. And that was kind of their alternative to there's nothing else we can do, try this. Yeah. Exactly. I know, I should go talk to a whole bunch of oncologists, man. I really should do that.
But the thing that happened, they said, well, we can give you pills. And they did do that at first. Mm-hmm. But I didn't like the side effect of the pills. They were really awful. And
right. Was it the basic Lyrica, gabapentin kind of thing that they were giving you?
That was the same, yeah. So then, anyway, and I wasn't satisfied with that. Mm-hmm. I'm not a pill taker.
Well, it probably doesn't work for your system anyway because of what you have in your stomach and everything else. So how was your experience here at the office?
I loved it. I look forward to coming twice a week, and the office staff was friendly, and I felt welcome here, and I loved it.
Well, good, because we loved having you. She always has that bright smile, and she's a bright ray of sunshine, so we appreciated her coming in. What would you say to people that are looking at this as an option? Because it is, you know, I always explain, this is a commitment. It is not, you know, it's if you want to just be able to do nothing and try to get well, this is not for you. You know, you have to be active about it. It takes time. It costs dollars. It's a commitment to change some eating habits and things like that, which was a huge benefit for you. But what would you say to those people who are kind of on the edge trying to say, okay, should I do something like this? Is this really effective?
I would say that if you want to feel better, you do it. If you are really ready to commit yourself to doing stuff every single day, like the hot and cold contrast, the electric,
the home therapy unit that we give you, that's part of the program that we do.
Yes, and I did a vibration on my feet every day. I really worked at getting better.
And guess what that did? That helped you to start improving and getting to where you're much improved from what you were. Yep. All right. Is there anything else you want to say?
Well, I love the program, and we're trying to decide now whether we're going to go further.
Oh, okay.
Because there is more that could happen.
Yeah, there is.
But I feel like it has vastly improved.
Right.
I don't feel any tingling at all.
See, that is huge.
Yeah,
that is huge. From constant tingling.
Yeah.
Before you came in here, your feet were always in a constant state of tingling. And what she means by that is when we first kind of started the program, when I gave her 2 options, and one was a more intensive option just because of how severe her feet were. And she decided to do basically the middle option, and now they're just deciding whether they want to continue on, which is great. But you know what? Not to have the tingling, to have not having the issues with the throwing up all the time and stuff like that, we've already made major changes, and I think there is improvement we can still do. But right now, you've had great success, and I so much appreciate you coming in. Like I said, she was always fun. She was always a big smile. I loved having our conversations about everything that when she would come in. So thank you so much.
One of the things that I did notice that I used to have to take corn bags to bed with me.
Oh, that's right.
To sleep, because the texture of it plus the heat.
The heat would kind of offset it, right?
Offset the tingling. But now, sometimes I will take a corn pack to bed with me because my feet are cold, but I can sleep without having a corn pack.
So not only are your feet feeling better, but now because you're not throwing up and you're not having that tingling feeling at night, you can sleep through the night, which is awesome, which is a good thing, right?
Except for old age, when I wake up.
Oh, she's not old. How old are you?
75.
75, yeah, but she's a spring chicken. She's got that young spirit thing going on. That's what my mom always says. All right, well, thank you so much. You've been awesome. We do love you and appreciate it. Thanks for coming in.